In this section, we're going to talk about identifiers. Identifiers are names given to certain program elements. The Java language has a number of keywords that are defined. We can't change those. We can't add to that set. We can't use them for any purpose other than what the language intends. But many other elements, like information we need to remember, which are variables, classes we write, which are new data types, instances of those classes, objects, we have to give names to them. Machines understand numbers, and that's all they understand. If we call something by a symbolic name like radius, the machine has no clue what we're talking about. The compiler translates or converts between symbolic names that are meaningful to us humans, like radius in the previous two sections, and some memory location where that value of the radius is actually stored. The compiler does that translation. We humans program in a symbolic language filled with identifiers, names that have some meaning to us, and translate those to numbers that the machine understands. The machine will say something like the value stored at location X is going to be brought in and multiplied by some value that's stored at location Y, and I do that computation and come up with an answer. There are rules for identifiers. An identifier is a sequence of characters, and a sequence can be one or more characters. There's no upper limit to how many characters you can have, but there's a practical limit. If they get too large, they become difficult to type, easy to confuse with other really long ones. An identifier must start with a letter, an underscore, a dollar sign. That is a requirement that is enforced by the compiler. If we make an identifier start with any other character, the compiler will flag it as an error. Most programmers agree that we should start identifiers with letters, although the underscore and dollar sign are available. Other than special conditions, those aren't preferred. No keyword or a reserved word defined by the Java language can be an identifier. No defined literal can be an identifier. No restriction on the length. Again, make it practical. Let me type in a few just to get a feel. I can say int, and that's a data type for integers. I can say underscore my number. There's a yellow bar under it. All that means is that the IDE is saying that I haven't used my number, but it starts with an underscore. Dollar sign, my number. That's fine. Int 2, my number. Now that one has the red squiggly under the 2. And if I hover over it, it says syntax error on token 2, delete this token. That means I can't start an identifier with a digit. And that was one of the rules. We see that I can with underscore or dollar sign. But again, I say most programmers agree that other than for special cases, not ideal. Generally, we'll do something like int count or double radius. There you go, for example. Now, if we happen to need two words in it, there's a convention called camel case. If we wanted my number, I can do int my number. The first word is lowercase, the second word is uppercase. We don't put blanks in because blanks not acceptable as an identifier character. Some conventions have been to put underscores there. That's not the Java recommended way. Obviously it works. Better is the way it is here. Double radius of my circle. Silly. All right, start with a lowercase and each additional word is uppercase. Again, a convention. The compiler doesn't care, but other programmers do.